I feel like now the Korean exchange actually has better liquidity compared to Binance.
I think like 10, 15.
That's fine. Yes.
Because we're
Yeah.
in the same time zone. I can say that. That's a rare luxury. Most people are not
It
in this
is.
time zone. Did share a brief little overview of how your career journey, your career path brought you into Web3.
Sounds good. Oh, that's a long story, kind of. Yeah. Um, so I was born and raised in Beijing, and uh, both my parents actually used to be working in the military, right? So I kind of brought up in that kind of setting. And during college, I went to New York. I went to NYU for college. I studied finance and information systems. So during one thing that I learned during college and with a finance background is that um, essentially like the economy and also like finance is a way for like some like a ruling class to basically exploit the middle class or like the working mass majority. So that's kind of one thing that I learned from the essence of finance. And out of school, I worked at a hedge fund, and then later I switched to a venture capital because I was more into the technology. And in 2017, I actually first read about Bitcoin in 2014, but didn't really pay attention. But in 2017, that was, my first time investing into Bitcoin, and I was totally fascinated by like the decentralization ideology that Bitcoin offers. So I joined the industry. I quitted my job in early 2018, and it has been 7 years of a journey that I would say probably the highlight of my life so far. I founded two projects. First one is ARPA, ARPA Network, and we have been working on cutting edge cryptography algorithms for essentially like some mission critical um, infrastructures in blockchain. And also the second project that I founded in 2020, we are currently working on DeFi, DEFAI. So essentially using AI to assist trading, crypto trading, and then to analyze a lot of data sources and essentially coming up or at least like assist with some trading decisions. That's kind of a brief or long background for my career so far.
So basically, it started off with traditional finance, and then you realize that there's a lot of technology that you can integrate into what you're doing at traditional finance, and with that, you sort of stumbled into Web3 because you realize that the marriage of those two is pretty. It's a match made in heaven, so to speak.
I'd say to add on that, one thing that I kind of learned from like working in finance, out of college, I worked on the Wall Street with a high-paying job, right? However, I was kind of bored because, um, like since I was a child, I wanted to do something different, right? And I wanted to, let's say, join like a revolution or a disruption of a certain industry. However, I do think that traditional finance is, like back in the time, like back in the days before 2017, I thought, in order to disrupt the industry, you cannot do like a top-down approach. It's more like a bottom-up approach, right? You have a totally new set of financial primitives, right, using technology. And essentially, you are not doing fintech, but you are doing crypto in order to disrupt the whole financial industry. So I think that is kind of the only way it works. I mean, like now, especially after the last year, 2023, crypto is becoming more and more mainstream, and then it's definitely beneficial for our industry to go bigger. However, for that very beginning, right? So like the very beginning of DeFi, like I got into the industry because I believe in like decentralization. I believe in the ideology that will eventually empower a lot of individuals. So I would say, the current development of this industry is interesting, and I think it's also inevitable for us to go mainstream, right, to be accepted by like the old financial orders. But I do think, eventually it will just be a much bigger thing compared to an ETF or compared to, a mere asset allocation for these large financial institutions.